Hey everyone, here's an update for the OculusRift stereoscopic rendering support in SunBurn. I've included not only the optical stereoscopic rendering, but I've also included head tracking in this, and I've created a solution that showcases how you can do all of this in less than 6 lines of code, and it's using the Dojo free framework edition, so anyone can check this out. Before I show you how you can do that, I just want you to show you what it actually looks like. So first things first, let's go ahead and kick off this project. So this is the default Dojo sample, and you can see with the Oculus Rift, you can kind of look up, you can look down, you can look left and right, you can also kind of like turn your head, and then you can get into some really interesting configurations as you kind of look around. You know, obviously you can move around and look as you go around as well. So that's how the sample works. In order to actually show you the lines of code needed to do that, I'm just going to show you guys a diff. So there's two primary things. There's how do you get the stereoscopic rendering support, and then there's how do you integrate head tracking support. And head tracking support is going to be a little bit different for each game depending on how you control the character's view, and so I'm going to tackle those two things separately. So the first thing you need to do is you need to add a reference to the stereoscopic renderer. That's pretty straightforward. And then once you do that, you just simply need to include advanced rendering namespace into your project. You need to create a stereoscopic renderer object. You then need to, well, in this case, I'm actually changing the resolution to be native to the Rift. Not necessarily required depending on your needs, but it usually is a good idea. You can initialize the stereo render object. The most important line here is obviously that you set it to Oculus Rift, and then it just takes all these other defaults, SunBurn Framework objects that you already have access to. And then in the update method here, you need to pass the view that's being created to the stereo renderer so that it can update each one of its left and right eye views. And in the case of Oculus Rift, it will do some extra work to make sure that that view is Rift accurate. And then in using the stereo render, you can actually get rid of all this extra code and replace it with just this one line, which probably actually nets out to a net 0 lines of code where you're able to just call render stereo. So it only takes 5 lines so in order to add full stereoscopic rendering support with Oculus Rift to any SunBurn project. Now if you have more complex rendering here, see one of my other videos that actually shows you how you create the pre and post render callbacks and how you pass those in. And in this case, we don't have any, so those can just be null. Now, if you want to include full head tracking support, in this scenario, you actually need to also augment the input. And so you can see here, this is getting the character controller view. It's doing some eye location stuff. It's computing the forward and up vectors. And then in the normal world, it's actually just creating the matrix based on all of these things. The Oculus Rift has some static Rift helpers that give you a number of different interesting options. One of them, kind of shown for demonstration here, is get view matrix modified. And what this will do is it'll take an eye location, a forward vector, and up vector, and it'll actually transform it based on the rotation of the quaternion that the Oculus Rift head tracking is sending. And so it's really easy to just get a view matrix from that. There's also just the raw data that you can get from the Rift helpers as well. And so you can augment this however you want in terms of creating your own customized character controller so that you can get the orientation information and create your own view matrix. So I'd encourage you to explore that class. And if you're really curious, the source code is also available, so you can see exactly how I did it. It's pretty interesting, but there you have it, 6 lines of code for full Oculus Rift head tracking and stereoscopic rendering support for any SunBurn project. So go off, give it a try, start building some Oculus Rift stuff, and happy SunBurn Oculus Rifting.